Sure? Okay. So let me right away say anyone who works hard can become a civil servant. There is no restriction, there is no limit, there is no whether you come from a poor background or rich background, you come from any religion, caste, it doesn't matter. UPSC does not differentiate on any of these parameters. Okay? They only want to look in you whether you are intelligent and qualify the exams as they fix. Have any of you know what is UPSC? What it does do? When the Constitution of India was made, the issue had come that the manpower required for Government of India, who should select them? You know, in most of the places, in universities, each university select. If each department was selected, this was a possibility. But the constitutional framer decided that the manpower for Government of India should only be selected based on merit, in merit alone. And they must be done without any bias. It's okay. And therefore, in the Constitution itself, there is a provision made for a body which will select, promote, if required, look at the misconduct of the people who work for the government. Okay? So, Constitution Article 315 to 325 covers the working of UPSC. So this is there from day one. What is the focus? That we choose the bright student without any bias. So in the history of UPSC, there has not been a case where anybody was selected on the advice by somebody. No, not possible. System had been designed to choose the best. So to that extent, you should be quite happy that if you will work hard, you will be selected. Yeah. UPSC not only select the IAS and IPS, UPSC conduct about 12 exams. One is this exam called Civil Service Exam. We select the IAS, the IPS, the Foreign Service, Custom Excise, and blah blah. So for 22 departments of government, the Civil Service Exam is done. But we also select every year doctors for Government of India hospitals. We also select engineers for all projects, and you know a word called CPWD, Central Public Works Department. Similarly, Water Commission, Railways. So all engineers are selected through that exam. We also select for defense. Those people who are 10+2 wants to go to defense forces officers in defense are not selected by anybody else but by UPSC. It is for 10+2 student. So whatever senior officer in defense you see, go through that exam. There is also another exam for defense for those who are graduates called CDS. Okay? Similarly, if you look at police, for police like IPS are the senior police officers in the normal police. Commissioner of Police in Kolkata, SP or senior people. So above SP are selected by UPSC through this exam. But it's also possible because in the constitution, while UPSC would be at the center, each state will also be a public service commission. So for Bengal Police, the West Bengal Public Service Commission would choose. But there is also a possibility that every year 1/3 of number of position in West Bengal in the senior officer will be promoted from the West Bengal to IPS. So while you become, if you can't become an IAS or IPS, you can take a West Bengal test, become Bengal Police. Maybe 8 to 10 years down the line, you can come into IPS. So please keep in mind, depending on your own capability, depending on your own strength, you can become part of the government. Is that clear to you? While I can say so confidently that in UPSC nobody could put a sifarish, only quality people are chosen if they work hard. That I can guarantee. Since I was the chairman, so I know. So the question therefore is, when we are selected for Government of India, your competition is with all the people in the country. Like tomorrow you want to start preparing for civil service, there would be students from all state of the government country. They will be from Tamil Nadu, from Uttar Pradesh, from Bihar, the Jharkhand. In each of the state have candidates who speak their mother tongue. So in UPSC, you can write exam in any of the language. If you want to choose writing the exam in Bengali, you can. If you want to write in English, you can. If you want to write in Hindi, you can. So language of the constitution given in the 8th schedule of the country are allowed to appear in the exam. And you should be a graduate. Is that right? For civil service is said to be one where you get to the best of the service. Day one you are a leader. SP is the leader of the whole police under him, and there are lots of thanas, as you know. So in a given district, he is the single person who directly come through IPS, the civil service exam. Similarly, there is a collector who is a single person who coordinates all the activities of the state or the district. So the advantage coming to this exam is that if you are successful, you come to the top leadership. And some of you would like to be the top leader. Then there is no need for you to be in the state service, come to the top in 10 years. So at least there is 8 to 10 year difference. So it is a good motivation for all of you that you try to prepare for civil service. Because if you are successful, you are at the top. And to be in charge of a district, and you can imagine district can be as big. So where everything which happens go through the collector. He knows where there is no water, where there is no sanitation, where is the food supply, where are problems with electricity, where are schools, where are agriculture. So he'll oversee everything. So what is he then? He can be called as, like in company there is a CEO. At such a young age, collector is a CEO of the district. And the capability in him are that he can handle any subject. Does it attract you, this profile? Similarly, if you are the police, you are the boss of the district. You can handle gunda element, you can handle the good people, create good conditions, make women more safe, and let the development occur. So you can contribute. The foreign service people are our representatives in different countries, and they talk about country, India's relation, India's economic relation, export imports, all kinds of things. So this exam allows you to be at top. So now you think how many of you want to put hard work. Is your dream? Is it your dream? Now if the stakes are high, you want to be leader, and every year we only select 200 from the country, the IAS. And you know about 11 lakh people apply every year. If you only want to come to the IAS, you must be in top 200. So you have to judge how much capability of working hard you have. So it's not like saying, I am appearing in civil service. It doesn't matter. What matters is, can you qualify and be in the top 1,000 which we select every year. So your dream is to become an IAS, but every year we select 1,000 in different ministries. And each of the positions are not small. Department of Post, Department of Defense Account, Department of Defense Estate, Custom and Excise, Income Tax, and IPS and IAS. So each post give you a leadership position. Once you decide that you want to really make an effort, then you should know what is involved. How many of you are aware what is involved in it? Anybody? Have you read? Any idea what is involved? Okay. Every year UPSC publishes a notification which comes in month of January for the exam to be conducted that year. Okay? So January notification will come that this year there are so many vacancies. You can apply to appear in the process of selection. Process of selection is the preliminary examination, and there are conditions required minimum. You must be a graduate and you must be 21 years of age. That is the requirement, nothing else. You can be graduate of any subject in which UGC gives the degree. There are certain private universities who start using some different names. So you be careful that in the UGC website there is a list of degrees. Only those degrees are permitted. So all BA courses, language, BA Bengali, BA English, BA Hindi, Sanskrit, blah blah blah. Similarly, economics, social science, political science, history, name as many. Lots of engineering degrees, lot of medical degrees. CA can apply, chartered accountant. So any degree which is accepted in the country, you can apply. So 21 years of age and your degree. Pass. Only pass is required. It's not required that you must be a topper. So minimum you must be this, which almost all of you would be. So once you fulfill this condition, you can apply. Prelim exam occurs in May, normally. This year is shifted because of the elections. Normally it has never happened in history, but this year chairman decided to change. UPSC dates are first fixed, then other dates are fixed. Normally it is in May last. Result of preliminary come within a month. Mains occur in October, November. Result of that appear in January, February. Then the personality test or interview, which end by May. So final result will come May. So it's a cycle for almost 1 year plus. So what therefore happens that if you want to appear in May preliminary, we are in 24 now, this year is gone. If you want to appear in May 25, you start preparing now. Because the preparation required time. Why? The subjects are those same as the university teach, but the way it is done is different. Now it is here that there are lots of support systems available. For preliminary paper 1, each of you requires to know history, geography, political science, social science, bit of arithmetics and things like that in English. Many of you have forgotten in your school days. And when you come to university, you don't know. You only read that. And unfortunately, as a part of university, you only read 2 hours per day, hardly. Because there is no competition. And there is no selection. It's a passing exam. I'm sure none of you are you anybody a topper here of your class? You. And you can find what's the difference between how much effort a topper puts and how much effort a regular put. But to be successful in UPSC, because now it's a selection. I am taking 200 students for IAS. You have to really work very hard. And those who are not in practice of working hard, they have to redevelop this habit. Typically, how many hours you can put maximum? Seriously, honestly you tell me. You have not been doing more than 2-3 hours. In civil service, 5 to 6 hours is the minimum. Because the reading is very large. Though topic is small, but everything around this you should read. But it's not impossible. There is nothing to be frightened about it. So if you are ready to work hard, if you know how to read, and whatever you read can be retained. If you need support required, there are places that are guys you can go in with them. They provide you material, they help you preparing these things, because many a time at home you can't prepare alone. So lots of systems are now available. This is RISE campus, so there are teachers there who help you to decide. But please understand that to be successful civil service, it's a 1.5 year cycle. Chances of candidate to be successful first attempt, it is possible, but only 18 to 19% people get selected. You can be one of them. Advantage to be selected in the first attempt is that you are 21 to 22 years. Your job starts at 23. You will get up to 60 retirement, the longest possible service. So you can reach the topmost position in the country. If you come in say third attempt, fourth attempt, by the time you are 30 years of age, your number of years in the service will come down by 7 years. If you are, for example, general category today, you can go up to 32 years of age in 6 attempts. So you can be selected at the age of 32, but mind you, your service remains lesser. You may not reach even a secretary in the government of India. Highest position is the cabinet secretary, which is the boss of every bureaucracy. Then the secretary, which is the topmost position, which everybody who comes to civil service wants to be. That would mean that by 25 years of age, if you are selected, your chance to become secretary is pakka. But if you come at the age of 30, you can become secretary in the state, but you cannot become chief secretary of the state. You can still become an IAS, but your service would be less. So therefore it is important that you start early, work very hard and try to get selected by the time you are 25. You understand what I am saying? Because you can be selected, as I said, general category allowed 32, OBC 34, and SC/STs till 36, any number of attempts. But you lose those years. If you come at age of 34, you become only joint secretary. So it is good to start early, good to start work hard in the early, because again the advantage is that in youth, when you are young, be 20, 21, 22, 23, there is a lot of energy in you. You can take a lot of stress, you can take a lot of work. The difficulty in this exam is there is no time to waste. It's a calendar on which you work. People like in RISE, they can help you plan your calendar. As I said, normally 6 to 7 hours of serious studies required per day. So in a week there are 7 days. 7 into 7, 50 hours of serious reading. Rest of the time you can enjoy. But then there are few no's. No phone in those 7 hours when you are studying. So you use your gadget, which is so important now. How much time you spend today? When you have nothing to do, you spend at least 3 hours on phone. Each of us spend roughly 3 hours on cell phone. Am I right? Because there is nothing else to do. Open this and see a film, see a music, see a talk, see gossip, talk to a friend. Because you have nothing to do. When you become an employee 8 to 4, for example, if any of you are an engineer, if you say, for example, IT company, they don't let you work on phone from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the company. You can also not use any other email while inside. So it is almost a practice day one. So you can use your phone when you are not studying. Phone is used to empower yourself in communicating with your real friend, not for gossiping. So one is this habit. Second is a regular exercise in the evening to keep yourself fit. If you sit down 7 hours, you don't know how your stomach will behave. 7 hours sitting is not small. नहीं लगता कि आप लोगों ने बैठे. Have any of sat 7 hours in day? Metabolism become, so you must doing exercise every day. You are not a foodie. If you are a foodie now, forget. You eat less, keep your tummy empty as much as you can, take more liquids, take evening exercise. You will be fit till the age of from 21 to 25 to appear in civil service. Make up to 1, 2 and 3 attempts. After 3 attempts, chances are very remote, though they are there. And at that time you decide enough is enough. So that is the kind of regimentation you require. Today, I don't know how much you know the country happening. You do discuss a lot of politics, but you discuss politics with passion, where you become angry if the opposition have a different party. As a civil servant, you learn these things on a balance. You are not supposed to be angry. You are supposed to negotiate. You are supposed to make your point of view to be understood with more facts and figures. It's not like saying, I don't like Mamtaji because she percolates a lot of hooliganism. I'm just giving an example. You may be against it, but as a bureaucrat, you have to deal with them. You have to develop a balance. Is abusing Muslims every day in this country by a lot of WhatsApp, is it required? You have a balance in mind. Your personal liking, disliking does not make you a bureaucrat. Your personality should become a balanced personality. It's very important. So you must have a respect for others, other cultures, know the Indian art and culture. There is no enemy. UPSC does not decide you are Christian, you will get less marks, you are a Hindu, you will get 20 marks, you are a Brahmin with a Janeu, you will get 20 more. No, nothing is like that. It doesn't matter to us what surname you carry. And fortunately in this country, surnames are also very strange. They are not all Agarwals, you can find some Lakdiwala or some Lakadwala in any kinds of surnames. So please understand, you must develop a personality which is confident, which is balanced, which only comes when you devote time to read newspaper every day, one in your own language, one in English, because it is a pan-India, in at least 1 to 2 magazines. Each of you should aware on the policies of the government of India and policy of your state. This is a minimum expected. And that at least require 1.5 hours per day. Which you don't do. How many you read a newspaper fully, page to page? None of you. You at best will go to your mobile and look at the headlines. Something which is catchy you will read. But not everything is catchy. It's also important to know what are the percentage of people earn below poverty line. For you it is important because you are going to be a future bureaucrat. For you it's not important how many seats was won here. For you it's important that they are representative in parliament of a different kind. And if you are posted in parliament, for example, for you everybody is same. So friends, you have to take a call. You decide, your competition is clear. 6 lakh people appear every year, 1,000 are selected. Which can become 1,200 one time, 900 other time. Because the government of India decides how many people they require per year. But roughly 1,000 are taken. Out of 6 lakh prelim, 15,000 come to the main. Prelim marks are not counted. These 15,000 appear in main papers, which are 7 in number and 2 compulsory. Compulsory are English and the mother tongue, and other papers are essay, 4 general studies and 1 option. Those papers decide your marks in a merit to come for interview called personality test. So these marks you retain, you are called for personality. If 2,500 are called, we will select 1,000. So rejection is preliminary to the main, 6 lakh to 15,000, 15,000 to 2,500, 2,500 to 1,000. That's how it goes. I thought I'll leave it here. You can ask me questions if anything you want to know. But without your effort, without your seriousness, it will not be possible. But it is possible if you really work hard. It is possible for everybody. Okay? So how many you think you are now ready mentally? it always happens that some of you will fall away. Because doing that day in, day out is not easy. Is it easy? But there are people who have done it. There are students who start, if they decide to become civil servant, they start working in BA itself, their graduation. Because university only take 2 hours per day beyond your classes. Do you study more than 2 hours per day? Until I was a topper which studied 3 hours. When I did my graduation, I'll do 2 hours per day and I was in the top 5. That's it. If you are seriously listening in the class. But you don't listen seriously in the class. So this habit of learning has to be built in first. And that motivation is to be kept for 4 years. That's the struggle, that's it. There are lots of support available. When you make up your mind, you can reach the Gazette notification which is available, online free. Previous question papers are available online free. You can see. And support system also available in this country at number of places. Yeah, any questions? Yeah.
Hello, sir. I wanted to ask, so when you start this journey, like being an aspirant, and you start like developing this habit of like studying 3 to 4 hours and then slowly, so you come across this feeling of like, you've been totally isolated from the world suddenly, and then there are times when you feel down, you feel like you are doing but it's not enough, and then there's a lot of self-doubts that come in. So I wanted to ask about this.
I thought you have not done so far at all. In the university, did you do that?
I just started.
So the problem is that when you were in the university, you did not take it seriously. You believe that you passed the final exam. So reactions are different. Now reaction is to achieve a goal. If you were to get a job, you are all graduates here, any PG? There are some PG. So after PG, either you do PhD or get a job. So to get a job, you have to prepare something. That time you have to be very serious. Now, taking civil service is a goal, it's a job. The highest job possible in the country. So effort would be much more. You have to kick yourself every day. That look, I am trying for the best. And the energy comes automatically. This belief in you that you are trying for the best, energy comes automatically. And when you know that if you work hard, you can be successful, it further helps you. But if you tell me that you should read newspaper from when, I would say you're too late. I started reading newspaper as a young age of 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. Who stops you not to read newspaper? Did anybody stop you? Is it expensive? And therefore you don't know what is happening in other areas. Newspaper in general, there are 22 pages in any of the English newspaper, and each page gives a different information. Page 1 and page 9, 10 gives political information, a major event in the country. Page 2 sometimes also does this. Page 3 purely is fashion, general activity, club activities, icons doing films, fashion. Page 3 and 4 about the states. What happens as the bus overturned, how many dies, general information. Then the middle page talks about the editorial on the topic affecting that day. And the articles, which are lead articles, minimum 3 different subjects. Then there is an international news, then a news of business in 2 pages, then the news on sports. So there is no other medium other than newspaper who gets you all possible information. For example, what is that day? past year's Environment Day, was it? No. Yep. On that day, if you had read next newspaper, you could have come to know everything about it. But nahi padha aapne to. Then you require textbook to read, which are not as interesting as this can be. You also don't know what are the good magazines in this country. Can anybody know what are the good magazines you should read? Any name of a magazine you know? Bengali?
UPSC Chronicle, sir.
UPSC Chronicle. Okay. But this will be about the competition. Not everybody is competing in this world. For example, anybody who is a young person, what magazine should he read? And why should he read? What does a magazine do? It allows you to look at what is happening around you and try to give information from either experts or collected information in one place. Common magazine which is easy to understand is India Today. Have you seen India Today, any of you? Have anybody read recent one? You don't. India Today would have all kinds of things. There can be many other such magazines. So as a general human being, as a young citizen of this nation, you should read a newspaper and a magazine, which required by everybody. You go to interview for lecturer, they can ask you event of, for example, Chandrayaan. You are not required to know the amount of tolerance required, amount energy, but what is Chandrayaan in general? What is objectives? Why country doing? This is articulated in newspaper and magazines. So your reading is very limited. You have to broad-based it. That's it. That's how it goes. Any doubts? Anything which? Yeah.
Sir, if you would allow me, I have a series of questions to ask you.
Please ask.
Request that.
Please ask.
Sir, as you were explaining about how our preparation should we go from text to questions or from questions to text?
Okay, whatever suits you is the best. Ultimately, you require, because questions change every year, it's good to know the text first, concept first. Go to question and come back. Because there is no thumb rule. It depends on person to person, the capability to learn and understand.
And sir, being a humanities and a law student, how do we take up the challenges of understanding maths and legal?
There is no maths.
Sir, in UPSC, even in the prelim.
Paper prelim 2 is only numbers, number manipulation, which a common man knows. There is no theory, there is no algebra, there is no trigonometry, there is no coordinate geometry. No differential equation, no integral.
Sir, also if we have to compare digital learning or books for quick and effective preparation, what should we go for?
Quality books is the resource. Knowing from digital is difficult, but there are courses by Swayam platform where you can read and get exam.
And sir,
There is a Swayam platform free for all people who can register, and good courses are available.
sir, how do we deal with being too perfect and too much into the preparation whilst also being in our daily lives?
Now, daily life, if you are a student today, you are objective to pass university exam. As I said, as a university exam preparation, you do not require more than 2 hours per day. Are you still studying? Which?
Sir, LLM.
You are doing LLM. So, how much time you require for it?
Sir, 4 hours a day.
How many hours are left with you?
Sir, 8.
So, you should devote 4 hours for this preparation.
Sir, one of the last. Sir, should we choose one specific exam and then start preparing for
Better to do civil services and
or should we just prepare wholly and then target one exam?
no, there is no possibility of different targets. As an LLM student, there is a possibility to go to judicial exam.
But
You have a second possibility to do civil service. So that's how it.
sir, like you were saying that in our university exams, we don't need to have high scores when we get into the selection rounds. So, in all aspects, does merit actually matter when we have to go for the selections, or do we take it up
No,
generally?
merit only helps to those because to get merit in your class, you know the art of working very hard. The difference between a topper and a normal student is that topper works extra and his or her understanding is better than yours. That's the difference. Otherwise, university exam 60% is one which everybody can do. See, if there are 6 questions, topper will do all 6. Normal people will do 50% of it. In civil service, if you have to qualify, you have to be like a topper.
And sir, one personal question to you, sir. How do we groom ourselves as IAS aspirants right from the beginning?
You start reading newspaper, get your interest in which areas you get interest. Maybe you have interest to become a collector, the way he works. Maybe you want to go to foreign service. Unless you know what is happening in foreign policy. How many of you know what are the foreign policy elements? What happened in G20? So your interest has to develop when you read more and more.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else? I am happy that she asked. Yeah,
Sir, how much time we should give for reading newspapers and magazines?
1 hour per day.
1 hour.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
to begin with.
And sir,
And when I grew, I can browse the newspaper in 15 minutes.
and sir, could you suggest some proper ways how to properly analyze the newspapers and magazines?
You start reading first, you know it yourself. These are things which are self-learned. They can give you an example, they are here. Rice people will tell you. But each of you are different. Yeah.
How to choose the optional?
Firstly, they'll help. My advice always, take your graduation subject.
If I like to change my graduation,
Why?
if I'm doing something, I'm graduating from, let's say, I'm graduating from history, but I want to change to geography, then how?
Why? You are weak in history?
No, because I like to change.
No, like to change for purpose, no? What is the purpose?
I'm saying that there are thousands or hundreds of subjects in a list of the option, but I can't find that particular subject which suits me. So how to find?
No, there are 42 options. How many options? There are 42 options, you can choose one. Nobody stops you. But the subject which you are graduating, the advantage is, you have read it for 3 years. When you go and do geography which you have not touched, you require at least 2 year preparation. History you would require only 1 year preparation. That's an advantage. It makes a lot of sense when you are in the university doing your subject. You know the textbook, you know the books, you know the teacher has taught you, made your notes, you have qualified many papers in that. Yeah.
How to improve communication skills?
In the beginning, you only require writing communication. And generally, I am of the belief, if you know your subject, you can always tell. If you don't know your subject, you can't, even the best of English, you can't answer. So for me, communication first step is know your knowledge, improve your knowledge, slowly start talking, writing first, and then talking. There's no point gossiping otherwise.
Thank you, sir.
Content is important. Yeah.
So how to set up a daily routine and execute those 7-8 hours, and how to consistent?
It's up to you, as I said. If you say, for example, get up at 7, you cannot start reading before 9. Obviously, if you have something to do with 9 and 12, you can't read. So depending on what are your activities, you can find out times. The second problem in calendar is that someday it could happen that the calendar change. So we work out an average number. So average work is that 50 hours of serious working in 1 week. 50 hours of very serious learning. Where if you learn 50 hours, equivalent retention is 25 hours. Sometimes you read everything, next you forget. Then it's not learning.
And when to start answer writing practice?
First you have to read now. First you start knowing your fundamentals. You start reading, raise question in your mind, answer that. Then look at a question paper. You should have some question in your mind. What is the subject you graduated? English literature. Okay, if you are reading English, what kind of question will come to your mind? You are in final year now or done? It's over. What are you doing now?
I'm a student of Belgrade Branch, Rice Belgrade Branch student.
You are a student of
I'm a student of Rice Belgrade Branch.
Rice 1. So preparing.
Yeah.
So they give you all a lot of questions. First time required to complete your fundamentals. And one of the fundamental requirements civil is that you do NCRT. Okay, firstly one or two last questions. Any other question which you want to ask? I would wish you best. Just keep in mind, if you work hard, you can make it. But while working hard, you must be honest to yourself. You are not honest to your father or others, they can cheat you easily. Like for example, you can sit in your desk, do nothing. And goodbye to phone in those 7 hours when you study. And reduce your weight, eat less, practice evening exercising. So good life. All the best then. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Sir, it was great interacting with you. It's an opportunity, sir. So my one question is that regarding personality test. Sir, according to you, what are the traits that the UPSC wants in an officer in the services?
Yeah, this question was just asked by somebody. You see, in UPSC, whatever they want, they precisely mention. If you look at their Gazette notification, where they have said personality test, they have written 2 paragraphs. Have you seen those paragraphs? Please look at them. They only want to know that your personality is honest, that whatever you know, you can articulate, that on new subject areas, what is your thinking. And you are a person who is not stubborn. There are people who think whatever they have used is right. But the world is such that every day you learn. So at a given time, if you disagree with any policy, you must have your points. So balanced personality is looked. Okay, thank you.
Sir, thank you so much for your valuable insights. I hope all of you have benefited from whatever
Tell
sir
them,
has
tell
said. Please sit and try to recall whatever sir said so